all our members, all our listeners, and all our constituents. You know what time it is. It's another fine episode number 27 of the Entrepreneur Chamber podcast. And we have a great episode in store for you guys today. As always, this show goes with our co-hosts, myself, Sosa, and my brother, my man 50 Grand, IJUST. What's going on? How you doing today, my good brother?
Hey, peace, Sos. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Man, I'm doing cool, man. I'm just excited. We're doing another episode here today. So, hoping to make it a good one. That's all.
Hey, man, you and I both, man. I'm looking forward to episode number 27. And for our listeners, the members of the Entrepreneur Chamber Facebook group that's going to tune into this episode, we're talking about inflation and how it affects whether you're self-employed, whether you're a small business owner, an entrepreneur, or an investor. It affects us all in your business and your personal life. And I think the best part about this episode is that you and I are taking the approach of destigmatizing inflation. So, I want the people to listen in because you and I are going to really break down inflation.
Right. Well, listen, inflation is something we've all been talking about the last year and a half, especially. It's hit America. I mean, inflation has got everything up. I mean, it's got housing up, it's got your rent up, it's got your food up, it's got your gas. I mean, pretty much everything that you could think of is cost more money. As the saying goes, yesterday's price is not today's price. An article out there in Forbes magazine that stated, and this really hits home how it's affecting small businesses, but it showed a statistic that 85% of small business owners are worried about inflation. And 1 out of 3 business owners stated it as their top concern presently at the moment. First of all, inflation is not a bad thing. First of all, inflation is a very necessary thing. Without inflation, we don't grow. Our economy does not grow. So we actually need inflation. So inflation, we can't look at as a bad thing. Now, overinflation is going to put the squeeze on all of us, as we're trying in our everyday life, whether we work for someone or we're in business, we're all going to feel the effects of overinflation. All right. So, but in the same token, if it's too little inflation, then that means the economy is not growing. And trust me, that's the other side, and we don't want to be on that side.
That's
So
right.
there is some advantages actually to actually this going on, especially if you're an investor. Investors love time like this because if you have property, or you have some investments now, everything's selling for a lot higher. Everything's going for a lot more than what it was, a few years back. So that's a major benefit. So, some of us, might curse it, but there's a whole lot of people out here that are actually, loving and striving and love when it's, when the economy is in the state that it's in right now.
And I think that's an excellent point that you're making because that's a good perspective for us to build on. And so too much inflation is known in theory as hyperinflation. And then you have, too low inflation when things are not growing, in theory, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's like
Right.
stagflation. So things are not really moving at all. So
Right.
there's always in a normal economy, the metric of inflation is always there, is normally stabilized, is normally, something that can be controlled at 2 to 3%. So, when we think about inflation, what you and I are speaking about today is destigmatizing whether you're dealing with inflation, stagflation, or hyperinflation.
So let me ask you, my brother. So how did like inflation, like in your business, in your everyday business, how did you see, inflation affecting, your bottom line?
So I may go buy a bottle, spray bottle, some solution, which typically may have been, for the bottles and the spray nozzles, $1.99. The solution may have been $15.
Yeah.
Well, inflation caused those supplies to go up,
Yeah.
so, but my example would be how we kind of dealt with it was you had to dilute the solution a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Hey man,
saying? So,
gotta make it do.
yeah,
Gotta make it work.
yeah, yeah.
Gotta
Where
step on a
before you
little
might have
more.
been using an ounce of water for every, or a gallon of water for every ounce of solution, you might have to use like a gallon and a half for every
Yeah.
ounce of solution. It's still
I mean,
highly effective, but
right. I mean, in the street pharmaceutical business, they would call that being stepped on. You got to step on it a little bit more. That's all.
I had to step on it a little bit more.
That's
That's
it.
right.
That's
That's
it.
right.
I mean, the way I think I agree with you. I think I seen in my business, I think I seen positive and negative. Um, I think I really see it and all positive in our financial business because you can there's people looking for more opportunity, so they're looking to to kind of offset the inflation. They're looking to try to make some extra money. So my financial organization, we can offer that for individuals. So I see some help in that. Also, too, we can charge more for like speaking engagements and things like that. So it's kind of beneficial there. In our cleaning business, cleaning and maintenance business, I see some benefits because obviously we could charge the customer a higher price, but that's relative because our supplies are higher,
Right.
our salaries are higher. Now we have to pay. Now that also as inflation's going, your salary goes up too. So a lot of times, so what happens is as inflation is going, a lot of times, your employers, they're dealing with more as well. So a lot of times, your rate of pay has to kind of match, or try to coincide
With
with
how high
your
inflation is.
with how inflation
That's
is.
right.
And here's a
Mhm.
job hack, an employee hack for people. When I used to negotiate for raises, I would actually talk about the inflation. Now, usually the national average for inflation is usually 2 to 3%. So I would actually say that to my boss or to my employer and say, listen, I need a raise. Hey, these are my numbers. This is what I've done. And inflation is also going up too. So, inflation is also rising as well. So I would put that in my ask for more pay. So that's just something that could help you out, because there's something there. Whenever you're trying to get a raise at a job, you can't just go in there on innuendo. You have to actually have facts with you to
That's right.
support why you're trying to get a raise. But going back to my original point, yeah, so I do see a little bit of a difference. Yeah, so like I said, we are able to charge more, but our costs are up. So,
Right.
we have to kind of balance out through a spreadsheet to see if we're actually making more money or not. It feels like we are, but I can't definitively say until we actually do hone in on that and run the numbers to see if we actually are.
Well, I think that's an interesting point because we are, as commercial cleaning business owners, are in the industry where we can pass the cost on to our customers.
Yeah.
Now, you
Right.
can't just go blow it out the roof, but there
Right.
is where you can justify the ends to your means. So you can say, hey,
Yeah.
look, the supplies are up, wages are going up, and therefore I have to, even if it's, you may write out that current contract, I encourage those that are listening, have a clause, like you said, with your employer, have a clause in your business contract. Say, hey, listen, somewhere along the lines, if inflation goes up and supplies goes up, I may have to raise the prices on you during this current contract.
That's right.
That's another way that they can counterbalance
Right.
and deal with the impact of inflation or hyperinflation. Things
Yeah.
go up. But to your points also, so think about the upside to that. So now employee wages, because you said employee wages has to go up to match inflation. Now,
Well, you would like to think anyway.
yes, in theory,
Right.
in
Right.
theory, Sosa should.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I mean? If you're a good business owner,
Right. Exactly.
somehow when you get all your profit, you may not, give away 100% of your profit, but you may give
Right.
raises, bonus, things
Yeah.
along those lines to your employees.
Yeah.
And, that helps them deal with and absorb the impact of, higher inflation. And when inflation does get back down to like a normal level, their pay don't go back down. High tide lifts all boats per se. And it
Yeah.
being a metric, and some even argue, economists, argue
Right.
and debate, um, that inflation is a metric, and it helps define or show that you actually have a stable and a healthy economy.
Well, that's 100%. That makes all the sense in the world. And like it all goes hand in hand. And just to go back a little bit, just so our listeners and our members are not confused. When I was saying I got to go back and run the numbers, I'm saying I'm going to have to go back and run the numbers to see, yeah, we are making more money, but I have to really drill down the numbers to see if I'm actually making more profit.
Right.
So 'cause, money and profit when you're in business are two totally different things. Your money, your
Absolutely.
business could be making X amount of money, but it's all about how much profit is actually
That's right.
going into your pocket. So
That's right.
when I say that, just so I don't confuse anybody who may be listening, that's what I meant by I had to really go into those numbers. I mean, I had to drill down to see if we're actually making more profit, our cleaning and maintenance business. And
And
that's all.
so to elaborate on what you just said
Right,
and bringing clarity and quantifying what you're saying, and it's such an excellent point because it's during those times as the business owner, that's your job. You
right,
should, you're supposed to. So, I tip my hat off to you for that, for bringing that up for the
yeah,
listener that may not know, because if you're coming fresh in the business and you're from a 9 to 5, that's not something that you're used to dealing with. So
right.
it
That's
may
true.
elude that person to say, damn, I'm the one that's supposed to crunch the numbers. Let
Right,
me go
right.
back. They're used to the numbers being crunched for them. So,
Yeah, that's right.
if they're new to business, and we're speaking to all ranges of people in business.
We're
And,
still around. Nobody
for
kicked us
those
out
that are
yet.
watching us on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that like button, share this podcast, and share this knowledge. So, yeah, brother, as we are building about,
Yeah,
inflation, um, now I know one thing, so like,
yeah.
let me ask you this, right? So,
But
like, diversifying one's portfolio can
yeah.
help a person through higher inflation.
Being able to turn some of those profits into investments, then all thing you're really doing is you're insulating yourself for times like this. It's just like, any good financial advisor is going to tell you that, it's better to invest in multiple stock in a mutual fund than invest in one stock. So, yeah, invest in Nike. That's a great investment because we all know Nike is not going nowhere. But but if Nike did go somewhere, all your eggs were in that basket. But if you invested in Nike, Adidas, Puma, Coca-Cola, Amazon, right? Chances are all those companies are not going to fall by the wayside. So that means that your money's not going to fall by the wayside. So if Amazon falls apart, you still got money in Nike, you still got money in Puma, you still got money in Adidas. So you still got your money there. So your money is still there. And that's like kind of what I is kind of asking me. So when you're a business owner, if you can start to begin to take your profits instead of putting it into your pocket, and man, go in and try to invest, try to
That's
get
right.
yourself some real estate or get yourself, whatever it is, a trucking company. If you can find somebody to do it for you, if you have some friends that, if you have a friend that wants to be a trucker. All right, hey, listen, you know what? I had the money. You're looking for a truck. I bought a truck for you. This is the
Right.
partnership I want in return for supplying you with, with the truck that's going to make this business go. If you want, or you might have a friend that's, has a little landscaping company on the side. Okay, hey, let's go big time with that. I have the
That's
money
right.
and the resources to go ahead and get you to go somewhere bigger. So it's really just about trying to um, grow ourselves as individuals and become entrepreneurs where our money is working for us. All our money that we're putting out is working for us. So it means so everything is an asset and nothing is a liability. And that's what we're all trying to get to. And that's where I'm trying to get to. And I know my brother IJUST is trying to get to. So yeah, if you have the more that you have, the more eggs you have open, the more doors you have open, or more baskets you have eggs in times when inflation's high, okay, I can't go in that basket, but I can go over here and get some money out this basket. That basket is running low, but I can go over here to this basket and fill that basket back up. And that's kind of like the
That's right.
concept.
And I think that's important because it's all inclusive,
Yeah, that's right.
because as the ebb and flow, the ups and the downs, and the famine and the feasts, and the peaks and the valleys, that's basically how the economy is, and inflation is a metric in the economy, so it's going to
100%.
happen ill, not irregardless, but regardless is going to
Yeah.
happen. And, you got to be able to absorb the impact of it when it's high or when it's low. And that's
Yeah.
what's great about what we're speaking to right now, because not only are we just talking about the elephant in the room, at the same time, we're also providing the listener with the understanding of how to create solutions for your small business,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
that's what you want in business as a business owner, and you grow to
That's
be
right.
an investor and an entrepreneur. You have to have, balance
Yeah.
within, dealing with higher inflation or lower inflation
Right.
and economic growth, because at the end of the day, so whether it's high inflation or low inflation, somebody making money.
I read an article that said that the average American right now needs at least to make $1,500 more a month to keep up with the current market and the current rate of inflation. And so think about it though. But I personally think that's a great thing. So I think if you're a business owner, I think you are in a much better position than if you're an employee. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because if you're an employee and you work for someone, then what's going to have to happen, right? Because you can't go to your boss and say, "I need $1,500 more a month." They're going to laugh you out the door. They might even tell you, "Well, oh yeah, I'll tell you what, you might as well start getting your stuff
Packing
ready.
your bags.
Get out of here, buddy."
Matter of fact, Jimmy, pack up their desk. You know what I mean?
Go
Have
get his
somebody
things
else
right
pack
now.
up their
Like you're
desk.
asking for what, buddy? Go get his things right.
Yeah. By the time you go back to your desk, your joint already packed up. So,
Detroit
like,
already
what the
packed
hell?
up. You're like 50. Are you crazy? So, but
Yeah.
so okay, so that's not gonna work. So what are you gonna have to do? You're gonna have to go get another job. You have to go get a part-time job, right? Either that or you got to go sell something, right? So that's what you're gonna have to do. Now, if you're a business owner though, it's real simple. One easy solution can be is when we were talking about one of our episodes, scaling, man, you could create another income source within, create another branch all within your own the tree that you already have
That's
standing
right.
standing tall and it's already making money. You can go create another branch off that tree. So you can go create another stream of income within that business. You just got to get a little more creative. You know what? Man, the prices are killing me. These everything's higher. My supplies are higher. I got to pay my salaries up. My taxes are up. I got to find some more money. Okay, you know what? Let me go get this machine over here. Or let me go do this, and I'm gonna add this service to my business. It's a lot easier to go add a service to your business than go get another job and work those 4 or 5 extra hours or 6 hours a week and get a paycheck for a couple $100.
Sosa and I both are giving y'all examples to go and how to deal with higher costs and inflation. I called up my credit card companies. It's like, listen, man, I've been a good customer, my business, this, that, and the third. Listen, man, I need y'all to increase my credit limits. You know what I'm saying? And that was one way that gave me a little bit more security to know that I have much, much more higher credit limits. So if any unexpected expenses occurred or I'm dealing with higher inflation, then at least I know that, again, I have the means to be able to soften the blow and absorb the impact of higher costs, because it's higher costs in this day and age in this economy. It's like time. There's nothing you could do to stop it. You know what I'm saying? It's going to
That's right.
happen. The
You just
best you
deal with
can do is embrace it, brace
it. Yeah,
yourself, be
that's right.
prepared.
I agree. I think honestly, listen, whether you're an employee, whether you're a business owner, whether you're an entrepreneur, I think one thing that we should all always do is save. If you whatever it is that you can save, man, always try to pay yourself first. First of all, do you know first of all of us, if you got a job, all of us, I'm not saying we're millionaires, but all of us are going to see if you work for 20, 30, 40 years, all of us are going to see
I
over a
already
million
know where
dollars.
you're going with it. That's
Every
right.
last one of us are going to see over $1 million, and that's
That's
100%.
right.
That's a fact.
That's right.
If you only make 25, 30, if you make like $25,000 in 30, 40 years, you'll make $1 million. All right. If you make 35 or $45,000 a year, and with most people make at least $40,000 a year nowadays, within like 25 years or something like that, or 30 years, you'll make over $1 million, well over $1 million. So if we paid ourselves, just imagine we just a couple of dollars of that a month, we'd be so much better off. So a wise man always saves for in times like this, for when times are lean. When when the forest is barren, if you ain't put no seeds to the side, you ain't gonna be able to grow another crop. But if but when when the crops was full and you
Mhm.
just just put it all out there, if you didn't save some of that crop for when times get lean, then times are lean. Now where are you gonna go? That I mean, my suggestion is, man, try to get yourself in position when you start owning some things because that's when you're gonna benefit. Because if you don't own nothing, you ain't gonna be. And when everybody else is complaining, you're gonna be smiling because you got an opportunity to make a lot more money. So that's just some some things to keep in mind. I know that's what I'm trying to strive for each and every day. I know
Yes,
that,
sir. And
and I know my brother I
another
just is
thing,
doing that as well.
absolutely, brother, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, Sos. And another thing that they can, consider is like, paying off debt in these times. Like if you have the means. So let's just say, for example, they were able to do it, everything you said with that additional revenue, and they still had some profit left over, pay down some debt with that profit. You know what I mean? Versus splurging. Now at the end of the day, do as thou willest with thou profit.
That's
We're
it.
not
That's
here to
it.
tell you exactly what to
Hey,
do
well,
with your
we
own
just give
money.
suggestions. We're just giving
Yeah,
suggestions. We ain't telling you.
yeah.
Right. We put no gun to your head. We're gonna say, you listen.
Listen,
The
hey, brother,
easier
you just
way,
said it
yeah.
though. You said a wise man, and that
That's
was
right.
key that you said that.
That's right.
And what defines a person being wise is really learning from your own mistakes or learning from other people mistakes when they were willing to share their mistakes with you.
That's
So if
right.
you can heed those mistakes, like that makes you wise because
Yeah.
you were able to heed those mistakes, and then you turned those mistakes into things that work to your benefit. And essentially it's still inclusive with inflation or higher inflation. To the points that you made, there's a means where you can make that work to your favor.
Yeah.
Now this is what we're all striving to. So
That's
whether
right.
things are up or down, I want to be, and you said it, Sos, in position. Now,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna go back to my original point, but that's
Yeah.
something that's important that as a business owner, an entrepreneur, whether you're an investor or self-employed, being in position is very important. You know, things may not happen right at that moment, but if you're in position already when it does happen, you don't won half the battle because you were already in position. It's like a piece on the chessboard. You know what I'm saying? So, back to the original point though. So it's just like, paying off debt and doing things like that to help you absorb the costs. Excuse me, help you absorb the impact of inflation.
So so listen, so this so all our members and and all our listeners, all I can say, I just want to let y'all know, man. Listen, this is episode number 27, and we coming up a notch because
Mm-hmm.
I just told y'all before about how long it would take. Well, my team, right? We got a
Mm-hmm.
team now. Ran
Yes,
the numbers
yes.
for me. Ran the numbers
Uh-huh.
for me. You're making $40,000 a year, paying paying taxes, right? Paying you normally 8% or whatever we paying taxes, right? And your net is $31,200, right? So your net, you're making $31,000 a year, right? 33 years, you'll have 1,029,600. Just whether it's inflation, whether we're talking about money, I think an important thing is how we look at it. It's the number one thing. It's everything is on how you look at it. And money, when it comes to money, money is more of a discipline than an action. To be honest, it's more of it's more thought than actual doing type of thing. It's because it's a more mental thing. To me, money, where anything involving money, where any inflation is just a sub of money, basically, right? So to me, I think that all of that is is very important, that how we look at it, how we process, and how we feel about it. Because to me, money is more of a mental thing than anything else. Whether you're trying to clean your credit, it's going to take a mentality and discipline for you to actually go clean your credit up. If you're trying to save and you're trying to go to the next level, it's going to take, a mentality and some discipline and some determination to go do that. So that's why I think it's more of a mental thing than anything else. And there's so many mental exercises that you could do with money to help you, to help you, with your money. There's so many techniques out there. But as business owners, listen, inflation is real. We're going to have to deal with it. We're going to have to find a way to overcome it. We're going to have to, that's why the sharper we are in business and the, the, the better kept our books are, the easier it's going to be for us to, raise our cost or find the solutions within our own business structure to help offset the cost of inflation.
There's small business grants, that you can apply for. Because one thing about it, as inflation affects us all, large businesses, small businesses, the experts and the government and all, they put out programs and offer grants to help a business owner, a small business owner, minority business owner help absorb the impact of inflation.
That's right.
And that's really what we're talking about, is destigmatizing inflation and thinking about it and perceiving it from a different perspective than, the rumor mill about inflation. And I think that's something that we did accomplish today. For those that are listening, the audience, the viewers here on YouTube, once again, if you feel like there's something that we may have missed or not touched on as far as inflation, go ahead and drop the comment, in the comment section below. And, we can go back and forth and, we can talk about it, or maybe bring it up
That's right.
or bring you on as a guest and, speak about it on another upcoming episode,
That's
So
right.
I think, you know, from my research and you and I building leading up to this topic in episode number 27 of inflation. And as a business owner in general, you know, um, I do have a different perspective of inflation versus being a regular employee. And that's just the bottom line, because even in as a business owner, there's so much cost that you're writing off,
Yeah.
but as an employee, you can't write off the costs of traveling back and forth, to your office or to one of your customers per se, like, or your mileage,
Right. That's true.
that helps you
Right.
absorb the costs.
That's true.
You're able to itemize a lot more, at the end of the
That's true.
year. So,
That's true.
those are also some of the fringe benefits that help you absorb the impact of inflation
That's actually a great point that
becoming
you
a
said that.
yeah.
That's a great point, that you said that, because just thinking about it, as you were saying that, just thinking about it, you're right. Because
Hmm.
inflation comes, well, that's just a bigger deduction for us on our return. You know what I mean?
Right.
So in a way, it is kind of getting offset, because it is, that the higher supplies, the rising cost of gas, the higher, when we go out to eat, go out for lunch when we're on job sites or wherever it is, or during the course of our business day, whatever we eat is more money. Well, you know what? That is getting deducted. So
Right.
all that is still getting deducted. So while it does hurt, but also too, we almost are kind of helping offset it as we go, just by the how we claim our taxes, just what we claim, and how we do our bookkeeping as business owners. So that helps as well. That's
Absolutely.
actually that's actually a great point. So my question to you would be, so so when it is inflation, when it is like leaner times, all right. So because at the end of the day, yeah, while we do all say that, I mean, we still see, um we still, we're obviously affected by it, because whether we do come up with a solution or not, that solution was derived off of the effect that we were seeing by the
Right.
problem.
There
So
was a cause for
right, there was a cause for that. So
it.
my question to you is, so during those tough times, is it better to like kind of get lean and mean, tighten up your expenses, and tighten up your thing, or still focus on growth, like still, go, all the way to the wall, balls to the wall, and still,
Right.
try to focus on growth. Like, what do you think about that?
And I think that's a valid question. And from my own personal experience, I almost had to do a little bit of both, and but not simultaneously,
Yeah.
more like consecutively, So at like when one of my customers went from 5 days a week down to 3 days a week, and I had a person working in that account, cleaning that account. Well, I had to adjust them working down to 3 days a week. So there was a tough decision that I had to make where I did literally have to stunt the growth a little bit and not look to do a little bit more. And then at the same time or thereafter, um, understood that this is just a wave. This is something that is going to, pass by. And, if we can weather this storm. So I still was focusing on growth,
Yeah.
maybe just in a different shape
I
of
agree.
like more like branding per se.
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
agree.
Versus like investing directly in marketing for
Yeah.
sell leads. So I
Yeah.
think that's a great question, Sos. And the reason
Yeah.
is because it forces you to think, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you have that question forces someone to look at it from both sides and both points of view,
Yeah.
and when you and I speak about that off record or off the
Yeah.
podcast all the time about,
That's right.
not being one-sided in your perspective, but seeing things from multiple perspectives. As
100.
a growing business owner, you have to.
That's right.
You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying? So yeah, I think that was a great question, Sos, and I hope my answer helped
No,
somebody,
I agree.
yeah,
I
help
agree with you.
somebody that may have been thinking that themselves as they're listening to this podcast.
No, I think you answered. I think that was a great. You answered that. To be honest with you, I think I did the same thing. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think we did trim the fat. We did.
yeah, yeah.
Cut some of the excess. Off of the
Mm-hmm.
things we're doing. Like you said, maybe leads that we were paying for.
Right, right,
Things like that. Excess excess, maybe excess like eating or something like that. Just excess, things that we didn't really need where before we didn't really think about it. We
that's
did
right.
kind of tighten things up, but at the same time, we were still focused on growing. We still
Mm-hmm.
were focusing on trying to offset this inflation and offset the rise and thing by getting more business. I mean, that's the easiest way uh,
Right.
to offset it, right? Right. If you're an
That's
employee,
right.
what you got to do, you got to go get another job. If you're a business owner, you got to go get another account.
That's right. That's
I mean,
right.
those are the easiest ways. That's the number one way right there, right?
That's business 101
That'll
right there.
require right. That'll require because even if you go ahead and try to scale something off your bid, that's still going to require maybe a little bit of a money investment, or definitely going to require some thought. Don't take a lot of thought to go try to go get another client.
Right. Hey, we ain't even gonna overcomplicate it, man. We make it nice and simple.
That's
And
right.
and listen, man, people love the simplicity. So
That's
you know what I
right. That's
mean?
right. That's
They
right.
and because it's the most palatable, you know what I mean?
That's
It's
right.
the best way to absorb the information without it feeling overwhelming. And then once somebody feels overwhelmed, it's like, you can go into any other state of mind from there. So think the way you broke it down was, listen, man, let's just make this thing plain and simple, plain Jane. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Rising costs, go get another customer. Because if you were working,
That's
guess
right.
what? You would have to go get another job. Whether in
Right.
today's economy, you might be able to just go get do Uber on the side. So you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like something
Yeah.
like that, versus traditionally,
I
you
mean,
might have went in, I don't know, Macy's or something like that and got a part-time job. So
right.
yeah, so I think I was saying earlier, like setting funds aside is
Yeah.
important. Managing fixed costs, like you were saying,
Yep.
diving back into the books. You might have had some subscriptions like me. So
Yeah.
my example would be subscriptions that I had. You know what? I
That's right.
wasn't really using those subscriptions, bro. Like,
That's
at
right.
the moment, I don't know, $15 a month, $8 a month, even in business subscriptions, where it's like, I could do without those right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 2 hours. You either cutting back or you're growing.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the
Mm-hmm.
creative brothers like my man I just myself, we're gonna try to do both. I mean, but
Right.
but I think that's
Right.
that's really what it boils down to is what you got. But also too, I think it's important, especially in this episode, that that a lot of it is understanding. So if you understand inflation and understand the benefits and the negatives towards it, then when it happens, you're a lot better equipped to deal with it. And that's another message that we're trying to bring home here on this episode. So yeah, listen, we all don't like it. None of us like paying more, but in the same token, we all have to appreciate and embrace it because it actually, it actually helps our economy. And so there has to be inflation for our economy to keep growing. If our economy doesn't keep growing, then what's going to happen is, then we're going to be going backwards, and we don't want to go that. We don't want to have the Great Depression out here. We don't want to have be out here because then times we'll see a totally different we'll all be in a totally different world, totally different outcome. So I think, we gave you guys some solutions, our own life experiences, some of our own life experiences, to help deal with inflation. And all thing, this podcast, man, like we said, man, it's all about empowerment. So we're trying to give you as much knowledge that we have, and we try to bring you people to have more knowledge than we have, so they can all be a blessing to all those that that tune into our podcast.
Speaking of those that tune into our podcast, shout out to the Entrepreneur Chamber Facebook group that always be
Right.
tuning into us,
Yeah.
SOS.
Appreciate you. That's right.
Yeah, man. So if you haven't done so, check out the Entrepreneur Chamber podcast on Facebook. And join the group, start a
Right.
conversation. Those that are watching us here on YouTube, once again, subscribe, like, share this content, post a comment, if it's something that you agree with us, and be respectful if it's something that you disagree with us about.
Yeah.
We welcome, the debate, because it's
That's right.
all leading towards, how do we, those that are from the black, the brown, whether, Latino, black, whatever labels we put on it, man, those that are without.
So to all our members and our listeners, we hope you guys been blessed. So now as always, we try to end our show with something fun, something a little interactive. So today, my brother and I, so we went into the 50th anniversary of hip hop last time. So and we're gonna touch on that again as the summer goes on. But today, since we're in the heat of it, we're gonna talk about our NBA predictions right now on the second round
That's
of the
right.
playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we have a couple series going on. We have the Boston Celtics versus the Philadelphia 76ers. We had the Suns versus the Denver Nuggets. We
Nuggets,
had the Lakers versus the Warriors, and is
New
there one
York
more?
Knicks, New York Knicks
Right,
versus Miami.
New York Knicks versus Miami. So, brother,
Uh-huh.
first we'll throw the first one out there. Let's go to Miami, New York.
Woo!
What you see? Who you got? Who you got there, bro?
Listen, man. I mean, before I give my answer, and I apologize for those that are listening, but I'm about to take the long way. So first of all, I want to say, I know the New York Knicks are very happy that they got RJ
Brandon,
Barrett. And because I
yeah, RJ
think
Barrett.
about him and I think about Zion, and the Knicks got their money's worth out of that draft that year
That's a
by
good
them
point.
getting RJ Barrett. And
That's
I
a good
wish
point.
all the best to Zion and he get
Right,
healthy and everything, but
right,
RJ Barrett be out there balling. I might have
right,
seen
right,
Zion only
right.
like 5, 6 times in the last 4 or 5 years.
Now I do
But
wonder if
anyway, man.
Zion got picked to New York if he would be as hurt as he is in New Orleans. But that's a topic for another day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I gotta say that off top, being
Right,
that we're
right.
talking about the New York Knicks, and there's no shade at all. But I like the way the Knicks are balling, man. But they're both good teams who have been playing together for a while, except for Brunson just joining the Knicks. But as far as the other players on the Knicks, they've been playing together for a while. Same thing
Yeah,
like Miami. And you got two good coaches and you got two sound organizations who are both playing ball. And with Jimmy Butler being hurt, it tends to kind of lean towards, you would think in theory the Knicks would win, but
right.
again, it's systems, man. And
Yeah,
and this is why I love sports, because it translates to business, but that's a whole
right.
nother story. So
Right,
But
right,
back to
right.
answering your question, man. You know, the system in place in Miami, it's like a plug and play system.
They do.
So
They
if
do
one
have a
get
system.
hurt, they put somebody else up there
They have
and
a
they
system
still
and a culture,
balling.
100. Yeah.
So listen, man, I apologize for the long answer, y'all. But in this one, I'm going with the Knicks. So I'm going with
Listen,
the Knicks in 7, though. In 7.
listen.
How
Everybody know.
about you?
Listen, you
Who,
know,
who who you rocking with out of
man.
Miami and New York?
Listen, man. Everybody know me, know man. I'm always top of the food chain with mines, man. New York Knicks. New York Knicks and 6, baby.
New
New
York
York
Knicks
Knicks
in
and 6.
6.
New York Knicks
Mm,
and 6, baby. What's the
Can't be
next
mad
one?
at that one.
Yeah, what's the next one? Okay, we'll stay in the East. Uh,
Yes.
who you like out of the Celtics and the Sixers?
Well, right now I do like Boston. I know that, they've been through the ups and the downs and they got, arguably, two of the top guards in the NBA.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's like, I just feel like the Sixers are a deeper team,
yeah.
as far as their bench and what
Right.
their bench is capable of doing. And then, they got shout out to Embiid, but he got the MVP,
MVP,
man.
man.
He's unstoppable.
Well
You know what I'm
deserved. Well
saying?
deserved.
Yeah, yeah,
Well
yeah. And
deserved
then
this year.
if in the words of my man C.I. Wise, if Harden played like Jay Rocket, I'm like Jay Rocky, like, yeah, when he was in the on Houston Rockets, he'd be
Yeah,
shooting the threes and
that's it.
with the
That's what they
step
need.
back, man, 45, like, come on, that's the beard. That's how he got his name. You know what I'm
Hey, yeah,
saying?
yeah. That's right.
The way he was baking them in Houston.
Yeah.
So in this series though, Sos, I'm gonna go with
Oh,
Boston.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Boston. How
I
about
think
you?
that's a great point. I mean, my heart probably wants the Sixers to win. I do kind of feel like I just feel like the Celtics got the Sixers number, man. Celtics just always beating the Sixers. But I think this year is probably the Sixers' best chance of actually beating the Celtics. I agree. Point guard Harden, they're not going to beat the Celtics with point guard Harden. But Houston Rocket Harden, I think they can beat the Celtics with Houston Rockets Harden. So
Hmm.
I'm hoping, he had a bad game the other night. He went back to try to be point guard Harden. I think this next game he'll go back to being a little more aggressive, but I do feel like he is the key. I do feel like he holds the key. So I think that sooner or later he's going to realize, hoping sooner than later that he will realize that he is actually the key to this series. And I think that the Sixers finally get over the slay the dragon and beat the Celtics in 7 games. That's what I think.
Yeah, man. And shout out to the boy Tyrese Maxey because he balling too. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
He's definitely balling.
That's right.
So let's take it out west, man,
The
and
West Side.
go with the Lakers and Golden State Warriors, man. I mean, you got Bron, man. I mean, I ain't even gonna go into his accolades. That
Yeah.
that could be
Yeah.
its own episode,
Yeah.
on and off the court for that
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
And then with him winning the title this year, but I think the key to that series is just AD.
Yeah.
We
I
spoke about
agree.
this off camera, but
Yeah.
AD, man, if AD continues to play the way he's been playing
That's
and
right.
remain injury free, then
Yep.
and again, because I have to pick one, I'm gonna go with the Lakers because I ride with my man Bron. But man, you just
Yeah.
can't count out the Golden State Warriors, man, because arguably, some say, the best shooting guard, but period, the best guard possibly in NBA history. Forget just shooting. I'm talking about overall the best guard,
Right. Point guard.
handles and
Point guard.
everything.
Yeah. Best point guard.
They
Definitely.
got
Yeah.
number 30 out there, man. Steph
He might,
Curry, man.
he
That
might
boy
be
is
there, man. I
he
probably
like
still put
LeBron,
Magic
man.
over him,
Like
but
they're
he's stuck.
abnormal type on that court. You know what I mean? And their
Yeah.
basketball IQ is out the roof. And then
Yeah.
they got like Draymond Green, who sets like they need to give him his own award on the pick award. Don't
Yeah.
nobody set better picks than
That's what
Draymond.
says some mean picks. Uses
Without,
some mean picks.
yeah, that boy be
Does all
setting
the
some
dirty work
picks.
for sure. He does all
Yeah,
the
but that's all part of their, ability to win and come together as a team. So I'm gonna go with the Lakers, but I would say that's gonna go 7.
Okay. That one, first of all, First of all, listen. When it comes to basketball, when it comes to football, baseball, so I'm a team. The teams that I love are teams I've always loved. When it comes to basketball, though, I'm a fan of players. So I'm gonna tell you why I say that. I grew up as a huge Dr. J fan. Dr. J is my favorite player to this day. Can't nobody ever unseat Dr. J in my book as my number one fan of being of a player, right? So I was a big Sixer fan. I hated the Celtics and I hated the Lakers, right?
Right.
Fast forward now, though, I'm a huge LeBron James fan. So wherever LeBron's been, when LeBron was in Cleveland, I ain't never been no Cleveland Cavalier fan, but I was a Cleveland Cavalier fan.
There
Now,
you
I was a
go.
huge Patrick Ewing fan, right? Patrick Ewing was my dude. That's probably like number two on that's my dude. I'm a huge Georgetown fan. So Patrick Ewing was my dude. So I was a huge Knicks fan. So I hate the Miami Heat. But guess what? When LeBron was on Miami Heat, I was a Miami Heat fan. So now fast forward, LeBron's on the Lakers, so I'm a Laker fan. So my heart, I want the Lakers to win. But being objective, I do kind of feel like the Lakers should win. All right. I feel like the Lakers should win, but I don't know if they are going to win. And the reason why I say that, because I do feel like the Lakers are the better team. They are actually better than Golden State. But I don't know if the Lakers really know that, you know what I mean? Because they're so up and down. And I think the key is, like you said, is AD. If AD realizes they can't nobody touch him on the Warriors, then I think the Lakers will win. But like I said, they got Steph Curry and man, they got that championship pedigree. So while I do feel like the Lakers should win, I'm not sure if they will. But because they're my team, I'm rocking with them, and I think that they can close this out in six.
Okay. Hey man, can't argue with that one because I'm rocking with the Lakers too. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I'm rocking with the Lakers too, man.
Yeah.
And like you said, man, the boy LeBron, his track record speaks for itself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And
That's a great
the
series.
things
That's
that
must
he's
do TV.
capable of. That's right, out there on
Yeah.
that court.
Yeah.
I mean, it's to me that is the series that I am most interested in.
Yeah.
It's just for me, man, I don't really get to catch it because it come on so late. I be
Yeah.
you know
Amazing
what I'm
series.
saying?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
on East Coast time, y'all. For those
Yeah.
that's listening, we on East Coast time.
All those series are
So
great series, though.
they are,
All
but
those,
that's
but that's
I'm
probably like the
certainly
prime ticket, though. Probably like that's probably the one
yeah.
most of America is tuning into the most. I would say.
And you know what, Sos, for me, it's because I know we're witnessing history right in
Yeah.
front of our face
Yeah. Yeah.
with
Yeah. Yeah.
two historic players, Steph and LeBron. Respect to all the other members on both teams, because it takes a team to
Yeah.
win. So it's not about
But it is like
these
LeBron versus
individuals,
the
but
Warriors, though. It's more like right.
yeah, but we
I agree.
watching history right in front of our face. So our grandchildren gonna be talking about
Yeah,
them
I
like we
agree.
talked about the Wilts and them.
I
You
agree.
know what
Plus,
I'm
this
saying?
this might be the last time we see LeBron versus the Warriors. So
That's right.
this
That's
could
right.
be the last time we see them. Who knows? Because
That's right.
LeBron
That's
ain't
right.
gonna play forever. So
Mhm.
now we have the last one: the Suns versus the Nuggets.
Denver, Denver
Yup. What do you think
Nuggets.
there?
Listen, man. I think that it's going to take a little bit of time for Phoenix to mesh together as a team. I mean, come on, Denver been playing on a high level for 4,
Yeah,
5 seasons. Like I've seen when they were at the bottom and they built up, and then you seen them get better year after year after year. Even with Jokic, like
yeah,
man, the Joker, like come on, man, like he top, you know, 2, 3 players, top 5 in the NBA right now. So,
yeah.
and then with Murray, I remember when Murray and what's old boy in Utah when they had that epic battle in Utah.
In the
So
bubble, yeah. Spider Mitchell,
yeah,
Donovan Mitchell.
yeah, man, Donovan Mitchell when he was on
Yup.
Utah. So we
Yeah,
know what Murray is capable of,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
now you
Murray
can
killing in
kind of
that
see
bubble.
the injury not bothering him as much mentally no more, where he's freely playing ball
Yeah,
right now,
yeah. I
and it's
mean, Murray's always
showing
gonna
because
give
he,
you. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So my short answer is Denver in 6.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say that Murray always gives you those like 2, 3 games that he goes ballistic.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
other games he ain't really
He
doing
goes
too much.
bananas.
But
Yeah. So
he always gonna be positive on the court. But there's some games,
yeah,
there's like those 2, 3 games where he explodes.
absolutely, absolutely.
So
So my short answer, man, is Denver in 6,
it's gonna be
bro.
Denver.
Shit, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised because it's what 2-0 now, right?
Yeah. You think a sweep?
Hey man, that wouldn't surprise me either, man.
Um, I think
But I'm
that's
gonna go Denver in 6.
like I agree with you. Like with Denver, I mean with Phoenix. I think actually I do think that they come together. I mean they look good on the court. I think their problem is they just don't. Their team, I think they need another year to kind of fill out around
That's what I'm saying.
KD and D Book because
That's right.
I think
That's right.
I think they don't they need more of a bench. They need more three
Right.
and D type guys. I think the trade while you got KD, it kind of depleted them, so it's kind of hard to beat Denver, who's coming 8-9 strong every game. You know what I mean? And you playing them with like 5-6 people. You know, to me, that's a tall order, and I think that they can overcome that. But KD has got to be, like KD is he's just not. This is not his DNA, but like KD is unstoppable. But it's like he's
Yeah.
almost taking the back seat. And we're don't get me wrong, D Book is incredible. Like D Book is amazing. But I almost feel like when I'm watching the games that like Kevin Durant is being too uh he's deferring too much to D Book instead of like kind of being like, yo, man, I'm really the dog. So, like I need to
Yeah.
take like I don't understand why KD just don't shoot every time down, damn near.
Well, it's like
Man, don't miss.
somebody else just the other day, I forget who it was, but it might have been Steph, shot
Yeah.
38 times. You know what I mean? But he
Yeah.
just took over the game, whereas 28 or 38 times where he was just like, and the next person to him probably only shot, you know, 13,
Oh,
14
you talking about
times.
Steph? Yeah, right,
Yeah,
right,
he took the
right,
majority of the shots that game. He was like, and that's
right.
really kind of what basketball is kind of boiling down to when you have these superstars on the team. It's like, how are we both going to, if we're in total putting up, I don't know, 75 shots on average as a team, you know, how many of those shots are going to come from KD and how many of them shots are going to come from,
Yeah.
everybody else? And I
Yeah,
think that's what
yeah.
KD is trying to not step on toes and saying,
Yeah.
you know what, I know, but
Yeah.
for them
Right.
to
He's not posted
win,
up in the corner over there. Yeah.
yeah, it's going to take for him and D Booker to take all the shots.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
For
I
the
think
most part, the
yeah,
majority of them.
so I think in that series, I think if D Book if KD takes be a little more assertive, I think that they can win. But I don't see that really happening. And then with CP3 being down, I just feel like man, this is gonna be like a 5 game series, man. I think it's gonna be like a gentleman's sweep. Maybe 6 games,
Yeah.
but I'm looking at
Yeah.
5, no more than
Fine.
six.
No more
No
than
more than
six.
six, but
So
I'm yeah,
I
yep, yep.
think I think we share the same sentiment on that one,
Yeah,
man. 5 or
yeah,
6, man.
yeah, yep,
So
yep.
once again, man, ASOS, I like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That was a good way for the listeners to kind of get to know us as personalities
that's
and
right.
how we, are just like them.
That's
They
right.
may look at us on this platform and be like, man, it's easy for y'all to say from y'all perch and talk business and
Right,
articulate yourselves on these different topics of
right.
business. But we kick it and talk and watch basketball and sports and hang out with our children and family the same way those that are viewing us now on YouTube.
Yeah,
So once again, if you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that like button,
yep,
share, post a comment. You're watching the Entrepreneur Chamber podcast,
yeah,
episode number 27. It's a quick little recap. Today's episode number 27 was about inflation. We spoke on the different ways to help you as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, an investor, um, as someone who's self-employed, ways that you can absorb the impact of inflation and hyperinflation or stagflation. And our goal was to destigmatize the word inflation, especially the way it circulates in our community.
yeah.
And I think we accomplished that mission.
And for my part, I just want to say thank you to all our listeners and all our members and all our constituents as always. And yes, listen, inflation, listen, we're all dealing with it. It's something that's at the forefront of our minds. Some of us are thinking how we're going to make ends meet, where we're going to get the extra money. And, just to let you know, listen, we're in that fight with you as well. And, it's something that we have to deal with as well. So, together we can all deal with it together. We could all get through this thing together, and that's why we have this podcast to tackle issues like this and things that are at the forefront of all of our brains. So I think this was a great episode. I think we were, speaking very transparent about our own situations. Again, to all our members and all our listeners, we want to thank you for tuning in to episode 27. As always, tune in to go to YouTube, go to the Entrepreneur Chamber podcast, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And as always, we always like to end our show very easily and very simply with our mission and our statement, which is, as always, please help empower us so we can help empower you.
Be saw and be victorious.